Hello, everyone, and welcome to another special spooky episode of the StudioMEcast. We have teamed up with the Horror Sci-fi Pittsburgh 48-hour film project to bring this special series of episodes where we are interviewing teams that are going to have their films featured at the Best of screening and awards night at the Oak Cinema on the 29th of October. And this time, we have Kandice Hartner Alex Marinski, and their film is Loose Grip, and their production company, or their team, is Give 'Em Props Production. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having us.
So, team leader, producer, director, lead actor, bunch of stuff.
Screenwriter. Yeah. All the fun stuff.
Fantastic. Excellent. Now, y'all, I got to see your film in advance, of course. And, let's first talk about, all the films have a bunch of the same requirements. You gotta have an adhesive bandage, line of dialogue. I learned this secret long ago. You had to have Sean or Shonda Taker, who's the skater, boy or girl or whatever. And then you've got also your genres, right?
Correct.
So that was everything, right? Character, prop, line of dialogue, genre. I got it. All right, cool. And so what genres did you pull? What'd you go with?
So we had parallel universe or alternate reality, and then also paranormal movie. So I think just looking at it, we were kind of, seeing after seeing all of the different ones, we were really riding on like a time travel or the Back to the Future-esque type of thing. So once we saw that was an option, but I think the parallel universe and alternate reality kind of just stuck more out to us. So that's what we went with.
It seems a little bit more guided than paranormal in
Yeah.
a way. Yeah, absolutely. So you went more sci-fi rather than horror, even though there was the, an intensive element as it goes along.
Right, yeah.
All right. By the way, everyone, get your tickets to the screening on the 29th. Link in the description. Hello. Thank you. Anyway, so continuing on. So you get your genres that you pull, and you get all the requirements and all that. So take me through Friday evening. How did the writing process go? You're the writer on this. Were there other people in the room pitching ideas around? What did it look like? And how long did it last?
Yeah, I was going to say, I think Kandice probably said that I'm sure these two groups out of the four she's done might have been like the largest groups that she's had.
Oh.
Yes. So
how many people on your team?
It was 10 and 10, I believe.
Yeah,
or
11
around
with
that.
me. So we do this as part of a project. We're from Westminster College. So as part of a class that I teach, I have them participate in the 48 hours. So I had not only this team that's moved on to the Best of, but also another team that was entered into this and was actually part of a third team that wasn't part of this class. So it was a busy weekend for me. And so I was jumping back and forth during the writing between the two groups and listening to their ideas and trying to see how it was going between them and kind of guiding where we thought that this might go. But this group had a pretty solid idea that they were running with basically from the beginning. We talked in the car a little bit, and then they jumped from there with the rest of the team as soon as we got back.
I definitely think that the car ride was the most beneficial part. It was just, as soon as you got the stuff, my mind was racing. My co-director, Joe, was there, and we just spitballed in the car the whole ride home between that and eating Dairy Queen, which was great and needed for the rest of the night. But,
right.
We probably sat for maybe close to 2 hours writing out things that we wanted to do, what we wanted to see, obviously the things we needed to have, character, line, the bandage, all that fun stuff. So it was really a nice sit-down process. Not everybody could be there at the time. We're all college students, so schedules conflict, but I want to say there was about 8 of us out of like the 10 of us that were in the group there, and Kandice stopping in every once in a while between the two groups. But we had a pretty set in stone mission going into the next day, which is when we started filming. So,
Really fantastic. So what time did you get your first take?
I want to say we started around maybe 9 or 10. In the morning, which was nice. Our college has about 25 townhouses on campus, so that's where we started shooting, and those were the first couple things of the film, which is awesome, the first couple shots. So we used Joe's townhouse, and it was just a nice, because there was only 3 of us when we started, so it was me, Joe, and Emma who started filming, and it was just, it was a nice way to start it. You know, it was nice, calm, and that's how obviously the film starts off, which is really cool. So, but it was nice having that more intimate, and then once it started getting later in the day, everybody started coming around, so it got more intensive.
So yeah, it built up over time.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Very cool. And when did you wrap?
We actually wrapped filming same day. So we shot everything Saturday. We started early, got the couple shots we needed, and then obviously some of the scenes are like later in the day or at night. So we really wanted to wait. So we really spaced it out where we started around 9-10. Then we had like a heavy set on lunch, and that's where we did a lot of that stuff. And then in the evening is, when we wrapped. So we wrapped around maybe, honestly, like 7 or 8.
7
maybe
or
closer to 9.
Very cool.
So,
yeah, full day of filming.
Yeah.
That's nice.
And
Excellent.
it was nice dropping off because, we started filming, and then we drop off that film to those who were editing, which was awesome. So we just could have it out of our minds, and, we could stop in, see where he was at with that kind of stuff. So
Now, got to edit all Saturday night, and then how did Sunday go? Is there a lot of editing, review, stuff like that?
I was going to say that's pretty much generally what Sunday was for us. We had pretty much a set idea Saturday night where he wrapped up editing, and then Sunday was just finish editing, review it, see what needed to be changed. And Kandice was a huge help with that part. Kandice, she had 3 teams to look over pretty much, so she was jumping around all over the place, but she was super beneficial when it came to finishing up the shoot and editing. So.
Excellent. And
Thanks.
when did you turn the film in?
Oh, God, I was so happy when we turned it in. It was honestly around like 3 or 4.
Yeah,
and
you
I was
guys were
just,
done.
Oh, super.
it was just a
Pretty
super
early.
sigh of
Wow.
relief.
Really early.
Because again, we went in with a set plan and we executed it very well. So I was super happy about it.
Fantastic. So we've got, it seems, a really unique dynamic for your team, just with the epicenter of it being you, producing and leading 2 other teams. That's
I
right?
was leading one, and then I was actually I did some acting and then some
Oh.
behind the scenes in the other one.
Okay.
And they used my house on Sunday morning for one of the other groups. One of the other films that's actually up for the Best of Student Award too is another one of our Westminster teams. So not the one from my class, but the other one that I was part of. So
That's really cool. So how did, and these are all students, this is part of the program that's doing this?
Yes.
So how did this get involved with the 48? That's really unique.
yeah, so when I picked up the class, I had taken it over from a colleague who was moving into some other different classes, wanted to do TikTok and things like that.
Sorry,
and
let me back you up real quick. What's the class?
Sure. So it's the class is called Single Camera Video.
Okay.
So it's really for us about a sophomore level class where they come in, and so basically before we've done this competition, they have about 6 weeks of class where we're talking about audio, learning about audio, and different things like that. And I kind of push them off into the deep end with this by saying, "Hey, we're going to be doing this competition," and I knew I wanted something that was extremely timeline and team driven. So this fit the bill really well because you're never really making a video alone usually. So this was a chance to learn some team dynamics, understand the different roles in a team, try out some different roles in the team, and see what works and what doesn't. It's all a learning process. Even it's a learning process for me as much as it is for them sometimes too, as we have to troubleshoot different items and make everything work throughout the weekend.
Is this the first time that this program has done the 48, or has this gone on?
So this
for-
is my
You said
third. So this is my third time in this class.
Okay.
And this class has always had 2 teams for me. And I actually did the 48 in the summer, so the May.
Fantastic.
With one of my upper classes, and they actually took home the Best of Student Award
Oh, great.
in
which,
May.
Which film was
for
that?
Be Careful.
Okay, I was there. So, all right,
So,
wonderful.
yeah, so it was great to be able to implement the 48 in other classes. This one happens every year, this single camera video class. So it's a nice opportunity every year to bring in this project and
That's very cool.
let them learn.
Yeah, it's really neat to see how different people get involved with the 48 and what the stories behind the different teams are. I think having talked with people, the most common thing is you have a group of people who already make films together and they hear about this and they're like, hey, let's try it out, But then even on those teams, you'll often have individuals who some of them, they came into the studio here and were like, I want to get involved in independent film in Pittsburgh. What do I do? And I'm like, go do the 48. Facebook page is super active. You'll get on a team, go to a networking event, and you'll get snapped up. It's not hard to get involved.
Not
with
at all.
But this is really cool, having it be like a part of the program. For your students and everything. That's really, really sweet. It's awesome. Great. I love it. So, so how many 48s in total have you been involved with, including sci-fi, horror, all that?
Yeah, so they've mainly been the sci-fi horror ones. So this is my third time of that, and then the one that was also in May.
Okay.
So 4 total for me.
Very cool. Very cool. Excellent stuff. So, well then, let's talk a little bit about I guess the team overall and how things worked out. So you're doing writing, directing, lead acting, okay, which you're not the only one, all right? It takes a lot of work, but I've talked with a few of the teams that have a similar thing going on. It's have that, and some of them are even teams with more than 10 people on them, right? So as writer, director, lead actor, how did you, first off, have you done that before?
So I have an acting background. I've been in like plays and shows since I've been in like middle school.
Great.
Which is really cool. But other than that, I mean, playwriting here and there. My high school used to work very closely with like the city theater and stuff like that, and we'd do like show writing competitions and stuff like that. So I have an idea of how to write scripts and stuff like that, as well as if you've ever heard of Bricolage. They're from the Pittsburgh area. They are they're a live like radio show organization. So they go to like schools and do programs where they teach you how to do all the like foliage and stuff like that, and then you put on your own shows. So I've learned a lot like through the years, which is really awesome. And this honestly, this class with Kandice, and Kandice is I have all 3 of my classes this semester with Kandice, so I see her every day. But has been the most hands-on, but I've also been the most driven because I love everything that I'm doing.
That's great. Awesome. I love it. So, big background in acting, these classes are doing well for you as well. Now, tell me a bit about when you dropped the footage off for the editor, okay? A lot of this film is, like the whole concept of it is heavily reliant on the editing. Was that something you were thinking about while it was being written?
Oh, absolutely. We had pretty much all the scenes written out where we wanted to be, how we wanted it to be. And so obviously you saw in the editing, you saw the film. It's a lot of jumping back and forth, and it's obviously not very dialogue driven. It's very visual driven, which is exactly what I wanted. We have some dialogue, but again, it's not like it was mandatory for the line,
right?
But didn't necessarily need to be there. But it's something that continued to drive it. So when you're saying dropping it off to the editing, that's pretty much when we would take breaks. We'd been out filming, so he was just waiting for us to get back. But yeah, everything that you saw is exactly where I wanted it to be, which turned out really well. So the editing was super crucial, and thankfully Alex and Noah did a great job on it. So.
Excellent. Yeah. So, with other projects perhaps that y'all have been involved before, was this genre typical of what maybe you've done before, or was it a departure of the kinds of things you may have done?
I know for me, this is like the first time I've done like a 48-hour film and even thought about making something in either genre I got. Funny enough, the picture was Everything Everywhere All at Once, and I loved that movie. So like I just like the jumping back and forth. But again, this is completely new to me, but I loved it. But I can't speak for Kandice.
Most of the ones that my students have done in the past that we've worked on have been more in the horror realm. That creepy kid, creepy toy. 2 years in a row that they did for that. But yeah, aliens, things like that. That's where it's been. So this was the first of its vein for them. Our other group did aliens. Yeah. So they also did aliens.
Excellent. Yeah. So I guess one of the things that I like to ask people is every time anyone does a 48, no matter how far into the industry or independent or new or whatever they are with any of this stuff, if you do a 48, by the end of it, you've learned something, you've gotten experience, all that. And sometimes it takes a while for you to even figure out what that was, you know. But was there anything in particular that you got out of this experience?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like there's always like cogs moving. Everybody has a working role, which was really, really sweet to see. So though I took on a bunch of responsibility, I wasn't the sole person doing it, which was awesome. You know, we had the girls who made the poster, again, the guys who were editing, and just everybody who did anything, which was everybody, which worked out really well. But, you know, just how team-centric it really is.
Over the years, I've continued to build in my knowledge of this, and I've gotten a lot better. I put together a little production book for them before they start for both teams that has like all the different forms that we have to have, walk through that, help them understand that. We tried to do some scheduling, even laying out like when are people actually going to be available, because these are students. So while they were told day one of class when they were handed the syllabus that this is something that was going to be happening, it doesn't always go that way. Mm-hmm. So helping them be prepared has really helped the overall process of this. I've had years where we've written and then gone out and planned that we were going to film Friday night, and we're there and it's 3:00 in the morning and everything's falling apart and it's not great. So we sort of pushed that, you know, writing was going to be pretty heavy on Friday, and then the expectation that filming was going to happen on Saturday, and sort of planning that out in advance and seeing the merits in that process helped. Every year it just seems to get better and smoother, and the quality of the work continues to rise as sort of learn these little tips and tricks. And I used to be very much so like, oh, they'll figure it out. A little bit of guidelines there to kind of help as we get started, helps them and gives them the creative freedom. While I help in the writing, a lot of it is steering the ideas that they've already started, so that way, you know, it's their film. I'm there helping. Sometimes I have to act. Sometimes a lot of times I'm running around in the background. We need snacks. We need SD cards. We need this. We need that. So a lot of times, I mean, it's them. They're doing these films and they're making it work and they're coming up with these ideas, and I'm just helping to fine tune that for them, and stepping back and letting them have this experience is really important. And it's how I can learn how they're working and what works for them as students, and how they work as a whole and build off of each other. It's just really cool.
I think that's the one thing I really liked was like we didn't, at least my group, like didn't heavily rely on you, which was nice. So I think the main thing you were there for was the editing process, which was unbelievably helpful. So
excellent. Now, so obviously you have a great passion for education, and I think it's fascinating to have students doing this kind of thing, especially since media keeps evolving so quickly, you know,
Absolutely.
and having it involved with, you know, a competition like this just seems natural to me. Like it just makes so much sense with everything, especially since the 48 doesn't have a whole lot of restrictions on how you execute the
right,
film.
exactly.
You know, you have a lot of leeway, you know, with as long as you follow these requirements, you're good. Now, you mentioned Everything Everywhere All at Once before. Were there any other inspirations that you were thinking of during this project?
honestly, that was actually like the main thing on my mind, like the whole time going through it. But not really. I mean, all of the ideas were generally original. I mean, I don't know if you've watched our film. I don't know if you can compare it to anything you've seen before, but I just enjoyed the entire process. I mean, again, everything felt very original, and I didn't feel like I was getting inspiration from necessarily anything in particular. Mm-hmm. But just, again, working with everybody and getting everybody's ideas was the main part. Mm-hmm. So.
Now, when you finished the film and you had turned it in and all that, did you get to watch it as a team once it was done, and do you watch it before sending it out, or how did that go?
Yeah,
and what was everyone's reaction?
Yeah, I think we just generally God, we watched it so many times. Whether that was just going through the editing, once we got the credits done, once we put the 48-hour mm-hmm. film thing, the logo in the front, we watched it so many times. And then Kandice actually gave us the opportunity to watch both our film and the other team's film in class, just to get a general opinion in that. That's a lot different. You know, you're watching with your team and you worked really hard on it. Then you're watching with your peers and you can take the time to laugh at it and stuff like that. But I don't know. I guess I'm laughing a little less now that have 3 award nominations. So But no, I think it's just.
Oh, and
I
did
don't
we
know.
go over the nominations?
I don't think we did.
Geez, gosh, I keep forgetting to do that. I should do it toward the front end. But it's not all about the awards or anything, but break it down for us. Tell us what.
So
what
we
you're up for.
are currently nominated for the Best Student Film, Best Use of Character, and I got a special nomination for being Best Male Leading Actor.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Wonderful, wonderful. Glad to hear that. And as an actor, you have a background in that as well. That's got to be pretty gratifying.
It is, but it's sad. I feel like personally it's not my best performance, but still like
that's always
humbling
everybody
nonetheless,
else's
which
favorite,
is awesome.
isn't it?
Yeah. So I'm excited to see the other films. That's definitely what I'm looking forward to the most is really gauging how everybody took we took our genres the way we did, and I want to see how everybody else did. So I'm super excited.
Were you able to go to your screening for earlier?
I wasn't able to,
Neither
but
was I.
but I know a couple other people were able to. So it was funny. A girl from one of the other groups sent me a picture of mine on the screen. It was very nice to see. So I was excited.
Yeah, well, that's good. Well, you have your second chance coming up on the 29th. Everybody, get your tickets in the description. Well, that's great. So I'd say we've gone over like the 48 hours itself, nominations, some of the inspirations, where y'all come from, and all that. But I think I'd like to say. Moving forward, would you do it again? Would you do the 48 again?
I love that it was required, and I feel indifferent on whether I would or not. But I think if I had the time and had a right group, I for sure would, because this was a lot of fun, and especially getting all of the, I guess, doing all the little activities that we had to go do in the warehouse. I met this, what was his name? The Skeleton Man or something. I thought that was so funny, and the dead magician and all the character actors that were there for giving us the bingo ball and then picking the character off the wall too. Just all the little things that they did was really it was nice to take a step back and realize oh, this is really well done and put together, especially for how Kandice had laid it out for us and stuff like that. So I definitely would.
Mm-hmm. Well, very good. Now, as an actor who directed this, and you're directing other actors as well, how did that kind of dynamic work out? Because it's you're working with the other actor and the other actors in scenes that aren't solo ones, right? But you're also directing, okay? And different people approach that in different ways. What did that look like?
So obviously being in front of and behind the camera is a little tricky, but it's something I do enjoy doing. I work for my school's marketing office, so I do a lot of that kind of stuff with them. But Joe was an amazing co-director with me. I gave him a vision, he shot, and it just worked out perfectly. Working with Rachel, of course, the lead male or female actress, was awesome too. We did a show together at school actually last semester too, so I knew her and I knew she had the chops. So that worked out really well that we just got paired in the group. But working with her and then working with Joe and just getting every idea together, everybody was super on board, and everybody also had their own opinions and how we could change things. So it was really cool working with everybody.
That's excellent. Let me just check our time here real quick. All right. Oh, we're doing super fine. This is excellent. All right. So now, what was in the 48 hours, and you got done well in time, but I imagine at some point there was crunch time. What was the most difficult moment in those 48 hours?
I honestly think, not to toot our own horns, but I think everything went really smoothly for us.
That's fine. Yeah, sorry to ask a leading question.
Hey, no, you're good. But again, we kind of spaced out. We had really 3, if not 4, big time frames to hit. The morning, the couple skate scenes in the beginning was very simple to shoot. Then we had the bigger scene with everybody being involved, and then there was a couple break off scenes. And then the night scene. So, I mean, not saying that night scene was crunch time or anything like that, but definitely more intimate, especially using Joe's room and stuff like that. And then there was only about 5 or 6 of us there for that one. but having to do those scenes was like, again, very intimate. And then I was doing all of the work in those scenes, and then I'd do it and be like, okay, I think that's good, and then having to do it like a couple more times was fine. But no, again, our process went extremely smooth.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. Well, then that's good news. So you don't have to go through that. It'll happen someday. But,
My other group, it happened for
yeah,
them.
that-
So,
yeah.
yes.
So, well, how about you? Like, what was it like being a part of so many different groups? Like, that could spread people across a lot, right? So
Right.
how did that
and
go for you?
It went well. There was the other group I was more a part of for them, helping them guide a little bit more. They turned in their movie on Sunday, and the other group came and said, "Oh, this is a problem." And so we didn't submit that one until about 7:27. So that was a big crunch on those 3.5 hours. So it's sort of compartmentalizing the different things. So this group's having a problem. Let's solve that one. Do you guys need help? No, you guys okay right now? Third group, what do you need? Do I need to bring you something? They texted me early on Saturday like, we need snacks. We didn't bring any snacks and we're hungry. And I'm like, I'm the craft person now too. Okay. So got snacks for all the groups while I was out and just making sure that everybody had everything that they needed. So it was overwhelming, but a lot of fun at the same time. It was great to see the final result of all 3 of the films that Westminster submitted, and the different groups definitely had more of a hand in the 2 that were part of my class, but each had their own individual little issues, some larger than others, but we worked through it to get to the end. So,
Absolutely, and having, just thinking about being involved with just a bunch of teams and going around sounds really hectic, but it had to be exciting.
it was, and at
sounds
least
like it was.
while we have a larger campus, it's not huge, so both groups were maybe on one end of the quad and the other,
Okay,
and
so you
so it wasn't
mostly stayed
awful. Yes,
in those areas.
I only had to get in the car once to drive
Gotcha.
somewhere and meet a group. So for the most part, it was a matter of walking and figuring out which building are you in, where are you at, what do you need before I walk over there, because my office is in a totally different building. So,
Are there any other film competitions or things, I guess, kind of like this that you have as part of your program?
So we haven't done any other competitions. The class, which was digital video and cinema, that competed in May, the whole goal of that class was to create a short film. So we really spent that time getting resources, putting everything together, shooting, editing, all those different things. So while it hasn't been entered into any competitions yet, that is a goal to have that done and completed for them because they work so hard on that film. But this is the only one that we do that's really like time driven and sensitive in that way. So I'd like to explore some more competitions and see what would be available for us to do. I like to give the students the chance to not only work on a project like this, but they still have to grow their own skills individually as well. So I try not to do a whole ton of competitions, so that way they have a chance to work on their own projects and build from there. And if it's competition worthy, great, we'll submit it. But they're learning and they're trying new things, and this is all part of that process.
Absolutely it is. That's fantastic. Well, congratulations again to both of you for your film making it to the best of screening this weekend, all the work you put into it, and for your nomination as well.
Thank you.
For acting. Well done. Huzzah. And, but yeah, I look forward to seeing y'all there at the Oaks Theater in Oakmont on the 29th of October, audience. In case you haven't been listening, get your tickets in the description. It's going to be a wonderful time. 13 original films made here in Pittsburgh. And, but thank you so much for being my guest
Thank you.
Yeah,
here.
thank you for having us.
Absolutely. And just looking forward to this Sunday.
Same.
Yeah.
Can't wait to see everyone.
Yeah, I'm excited to probably see my poster again and then the film again. So
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
So.
it's totally different when you watch it with a group of people. I think
On the big screen.
I've never
Yeah.
met a filmmaker who wouldn't prefer to just watch their film in a room full of people as like over getting like 1,000 views online. You know, it's like it's fewer people, but when you're in the room with everybody, that's either like the best or worst moment of your life.
It's a whole experience.
Yeah, because like I was gonna say, like we have the big projector in the classroom, so watching that with classmates was cool.
Right.
I've shown people like on my phone it, since we can't like output it, but we can like show people, and then like I've shown it at my fraternity house, like on the screen that we have in there, and I mean, it's nice getting feedback and watching people's reactions to it. So I'm excited to see a large group of people's reaction to it.
Absolutely.
So.
Yeah, it should be a fun night. I'm hoping for a full house. That you know, it should be. It's always a fun show. So I look forward to it every year. And but yeah, thanks again for being my guest, and audience members. Hope to see you there too. Bye bye. Hey, I hope you enjoyed that episode. If you want to start your own podcast, why wait? Reach out to us at StudioME.me, and I hope you hear me again soon.